Bad Bunny didn't tease it, he didn't explain it, he didn't even acknowledge it. Just hours after stepping off one of the biggest stages on the planet, his entire Instagram went dark. No posts, no profile photo, no following list. 50 million people refreshed his page and found nothing. The timing made it impossible to ignore. This wasn't a slow fade or a casual cleanup. It happened immediately after his Super Bowl halftime show, the kind of moment artists usually milk for weeks. Instead of victory laps and backstage photos, Bad Bunny chose silence. And that silence hit louder than any post ever could. Fans instantly started asking the same question. Was this a calculated move or a reaction? Some saw it as a classic rollout tactic, the calm before a massive announcement. Others weren't so sure, pointing to the backlash already bubbling online. Because the performance he just gave wasn't just entertainment, it touched nerves, crossed lines, and stirred conversations no one was expecting. And once you look at what really happened that night, the Instagram wipe starts to feel a lot less random. Within hours of the halftime show ending, Bad Bunny's Instagram transformed into a blank page. Every single post vanished from his grid. The profile photo disappeared. His following count dropped to 0. The only thing left standing was a single link in his bio, quietly pointing to his album, Debí tirar más fotos. No explanation followed, no caption, no story, not even a vague emoji. For an artist who knows exactly how to command attention online, that silence felt intentional. This wasn't damage control done in panic. It was too clean, too precise, and too fast for that. What made the move even louder was the scale. We're talking about an account with roughly 50 million followers, an audience most artists would never risk confusing or alienating. And yet, he didn't leave breadcrumbs. No archived highlights, no pinned posts, just a digital void, forcing fans to draw their own conclusions. And here's the part people missed. Wiping an account like this isn't about erasing the past. It's about resetting the conversation. Because when you leave only one thing behind, one link, one project, you're telling people exactly where to look. But the real question wasn't what he deleted, it was why now. And that question only grew louder as reactions to the performance started pouring in. The moment fans realized the wipe was real, theories exploded across social media. Screenshots spread, timelines filled with guesses, and within minutes, two completely different narratives started forming around the same question. What is Bad Bunny really doing? One group was convinced this was a rollout move. The timing felt too perfect. Big stage, global attention, then total disappearance. To them, the empty Instagram wasn't absence, it was buildup, a reset designed to funnel attention toward whatever comes next, especially with his album link sitting alone in the bio like a quiet clue. But others weren't buying the hype angle. They pointed to the immediate backlash brewing after the show, an all-Spanish performance on the Super Bowl stage, political conversations he never directly addressed, moments that some viewers celebrated and others clearly didn't. To this crowd, the wipe looked less like marketing and more like retreat, or at least a way to step back while the noise burned itself out. What made the speculation stick was the lack of clarity. Bad Bunny didn't lean into either interpretation. He didn't correct anyone. He didn't reassure fans. He let both stories run at the same time. And as the theories stacked up, one thing became obvious. The performance itself was about to be dissected in ways no one expected. Bad Bunny hit the Super Bowl LX halftime stage with a set that stood out immediately for one reason. He leaned into his roots and identity without compromise. He performed entirely in Spanish in front of millions at Levi Stadium in Santa Clara and across global broadcasts, a bold move no previous headliner had fully embraced before. Rather than a standard pop spectacle, his show became a message. Flags from across the Americas appeared, and the visuals carried a theme of unity and representation, a clear nod to diversity rather than textbook Americana. Surprise appearances amplified that impact. Lady Gaga, Ricky Martin, Cardi B, and Pedro Pascal all joined him on stage, turning what could have been a solo showcase into a collective celebration of culture and collaboration. But the story didn't stay celebratory. The choice to perform fully in Spanish and center Latin identity immediately opened the door to intense debate, not just about music, but about what such a performance means at a major U.S. cultural event. Some viewers praised the show as a historic, emotional moment, a powerful representation of communities often sidelined on stages this big. Others saw it as confusing or out of place on America's biggest broadcast night. Regardless of where people landed, the halftime set became more than entertainment. It became conversation. As the performance clip spread, a separate controversy started shaping up online. Viewers fixated on a young child featured during the halftime show, and almost immediately, assumptions took over. Some claimed the child was a boy who had recently gone viral after being detained by immigration authorities, tying the performance to a real-world case involving ICE. The story moved fast, social feeds filled with emotional reactions, praise from some who believed the moment was intentional, and outrage from others who saw it as political messaging slipped into a sports broadcast. The problem was simple, but explosive. The claim wasn't true. It was later clarified that the child in the performance was actually a 5-year-old actor named Lincoln Fox, not the child at the center of the viral detention story. No connection, no hidden message confirmed, just a case of the internet jumping ahead of the facts. But by the time the correction surfaced, the conversation had already gone where it wanted to go. The halftime show was no longer just about music or visuals. It had drifted into immigration, identity, and symbolism, topics Bad Bunny hadn't explicitly addressed on stage, yet somehow became linked to anyway. And while that debate was still unfolding, another unexpected moment from the show quietly added fuel to the fire, one that caught even longtime fans completely off guard. Buried inside the halftime spectacle was a moment that felt almost unreal. In the middle of the chaos, lights, and choreography, Bad Bunny featured a real wedding taking place right there on the football field. No skit, no actors, an actual couple getting married as millions watched. The details were kept deliberately quiet. The bride and groom's names weren't shared publicly, and there was no long explanation during the broadcast. That mystery only made the moment hit harder. Some viewers called it beautiful and intimate, a reminder that love and unity were at the core of the performance. Others thought it was strange, misplaced, or distracting during an event built on high-energy spectacle. What mattered wasn't whether people liked it. It was the fact that everyone noticed. A wedding at the Super Bowl isn't normal. And paired with the flags, the language choice, and the earlier controversy, it added another layer to an already unconventional show. By this point, reactions had completely split. Praise and criticism were running side by side, each feeding the other. And as clips of the wedding spread online, a much louder voice was about to enter the conversation, one that would turn the backlash into headline news. The backlash hit a new level when a high-profile political figure stepped in and didn't hold back. Former President Donald Trump publicly slammed the halftime show, calling it absolutely terrible and saying it didn't represent American standards of success or creativity. He went further, mocking the performance for being entirely in Spanish and claiming viewers couldn't understand what was being said. The dancing, he argued, was inappropriate for children watching across the country. His comments spread fast, instantly turning a music debate into a culture war headline. Supporters echoed his criticism, framing the show as out of place on America's biggest night. Others fired back just as hard, saying the reaction proved exactly why the performance mattered in the first place. What had started as an artistic choice was now being debated as a statement about identity, language, and who gets to be centered on a global stage. At that point, it didn't matter what Bad Bunny intended. The narrative had escaped him. Praise, outrage, politics, and culture were all tangled together, and his sudden social media silence only made the situation feel more deliberate, which brought everyone back to the same question. Did he step away because of the noise, or because the noise was exactly the point? When you line everything up, the Instagram wipe stops looking random. The performance, the symbolism, the backlash, the political reaction, all of it happened within hours, and then total silence. No explanations, no damage control, just a blank profile staring back at millions of people. One theory floating around is that this was a calculated reset. Bad Bunny has done quiet rollouts before, and wiping an account right after the most watched performance of the year guarantees one thing: attention. By leaving only a link to his album, he redirected the conversation without saying a word. No arguments, no defenses, just focus. Another idea fans keep pushing is that the deletion was a way to step away from the chaos. The show triggered debates he never directly addressed, and the speculation around his intentions spiraled fast. Going dark may have been his way of refusing to play referee while the internet fought over meaning. There's also a third angle people don't talk about enough. Silence creates power. When you don't respond, others fill the gap for you. Every theory, every headline, every argument keeps your name trending without you lifting a finger. Whether intentional or not, the move worked. But here's the thing. Bad Bunny didn't confirm any of this. No post, no interview, no hint. Which means the deletion itself became the message. And by the time fans realized that, the conversation had already moved beyond Instagram and into what this moment might mean for his future. Bad Bunny walked onto the biggest stage in America and didn't bend. He didn't translate. He didn't explain. He didn't soften the message to make it easier to digest. And when the noise got loud, he didn't fight it. He disappeared. That choice forced people to confront something uncomfortable. Was a reaction really about the performance or about who was performing it? Because the same moves that some called confusing or inappropriate were celebrated by others as long overdue, and that split said more than any press statement ever could. By wiping his Instagram, Bad Bunny flipped the power dynamic. Instead of reacting to headlines, he let them chase him. Instead of clarifying intent, he let interpretation do the work. In a world where artists are expected to explain themselves instantly, choosing silence became the loudest move he could make. And maybe that's the point. The performance ended, the post vanished, but the conversation didn't stop. If anything, it got bigger, which leaves one question hanging in the air. Was this a moment people will forget in a week, or the start of a new chapter where saying nothing speaks the loudest?